Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and this time I'm talking about the man with the golden gun. Once again, I want to thank Lance, uh, Bookreader 2012 for sending me these films. Man with the Golden Gun was the second film that Roger Moore did, and this is the last film that Guy Hamilton directed. Guy Hamilton had done Goldfinger, and I think he did Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and this one. Of the four that Guy Hamilton did, I would say this is his weakest. And this came out in 1974, and it didn't really do that well. I know it's one of the more lower-grossing James Bond films, and I can understand why. You know, at the end of the day, I could probably say this is a time waster at most. I could definitely say I like Diamonds Are Forever better. I thought Live and Let Die was much better than this one. I didn't outright hate the film. Like, it's not going to be a rant. Again, I think it's a time waster. There's some stuff I liked about it, but the plot is pretty much you have this guy, Scaramanga, played by Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee is the bad guy. And I like the concept. He's an assassin who uses a golden gun, and James Bond gets a bullet sent to him and sent to MI6. It's a golden bullet with his number 007 on it, seeming that James Bond is marked. And then you have, I thought, a pretty interesting opening with this cat and mouse with this guy that Scaramanga has on his island, and like cat and mouse in his fun house. And he's having fun with this bad guy, or he's having fun with this guy. And the reason Christopher Lee's character does this is to uh, keep his edge on, he has fun with this guy, and uh, keep his skills at the ready. And he kills the guy, boom, pops him right in the head. And I like that you're actually in the making of, you have Christopher Lee interviewed, and he talks about how was playing the darker version of James Bond. I thought that's a really good concept. That's a really interesting concept. I think though it could have been played better. Like I said, the plot. James Bond thinks he's now marked for death, and he's wondering what's going on. So at one point he sees this Billy dancer, because this other person had been killed by Scaramanga. So this Billy dancer has the bullet like attached to her belly button. James Bond's trying to get it, and he fights with some goons and goes to Q. Uh, you have a pretty fun scene where he's trying to get info, and he goes to Macau, and he goes to this guy who manufactures guns and trying to find out where this golden bullet came from. I like this scene where James Bond actually gets the gun and says, "Oh, you better tell me." And what was it? He shoots, and you're right, it's an inch too low. I like that little sequence where he's trying to get the guy to tell him where to go. Uh, but the problems that start is, first off, he has his assistant Goodnight, who I swear is one of the worst James Bond girls I've ever seen, by Britt Erkland. This girl here, she's horrible. She's shrill. She's useless. She is the epitome of a dumb blonde. She's clueless. She makes mistakes. She fucks up. She's clearly an idiot. And clearly just horrible acting. Just very dumb, very stupid, very annoying. I'm like, really? Did you have to write the girl this shitty? And then she wasn't really much in the acting department. I know that seems harsh, but I'm being honest. She was terrible, I thought. She was absolutely terrible. And the plot really drags because, again, I thought it was a good concept because that stupid shit with his assistant, sees Christopher Lee's mistress, tries to get her to talk, leads her to this club where this assassination happens, and it's another guy Scaramanga was hired to kill. And you actually have Soon Tek Go, the bad guy from Missing in Action 2. He's actually here as a lieutenant in Hong Kong who helps James Bond. I'm like, cool, Soontek Go, and he's actually bits on the commentary. He's interviewed a teeny bit on the documentary, but I don't know why he's only for a teeny bit, but I know he's on the commentary. It's part of the cast and crew, but it's one of those commentaries where they just edit it all together, which it sucks. But for some reason, part of his dialogue is dubbed, which I don't know why, because they don't really touch on that. Maybe they touch on it on the commentary. I only listen to parts of it, but on the documentary they don't touch on it. Why Soontek Go? Again, the bad guy from Missing Action 2, which I really enjoy. For some reason, there's parts where he's using his own voice, and then there's parts where it's obvious that he's dubbed by another person, and I don't know why they did that. I have no idea. That's another thing that I've noticed in a lot of James Bond films. Is why they dub some of these people. I have no idea. When he meets him, it gets to this set that actually MI6 are on this ship that's out in the water, and I like this little bit of scene because like all the sets are like tilted somewhat, so it's like they walk around this big set and these. I forget what the ship was called, the Queen Anne or the Queen Mary, or see if what the ship was called. I'm trying to remember. Queen Elizabeth. I like that little set, how everything is slightly tilted. I like that. But then you get to, I think a problem with the film is the MacGuffin, which is dealing with this device where it will help solve the energy crisis. And this device really helps with solar energy. And it's a MacGuffin that didn't need to be in there. And to be honest, I think you could have taken that out and saved quite a bit of time and just have it be James Bond focusing on this guy. Why does he want to kill James Bond? And have a little bit more Christopher Lee into it. But because they do more with this MacGuffin, then you have some pretty annoying characters and not much memorable action sequences. Makes for a sort of rather forgettable entry in the James Bond stuff. And then you have weird things like, for some reason, Christopher Lee's character is so that, well, no one knows his face, but they do know his, he has a distinguishing mark, which is a superfluous nipple. He has a third nipple. And I'm like, why do we have to put that in this story? But again, there's moments I like. I like the bit where he gets captured, and actually, I like Christopher Lee. And then he has a henchman, Nitnap, played by Hervé Villechaize. Probably said his name wrong. If you don't know who that is, it's the guy from Fantasy Island, who would later go on to be Fantasy Island. The little guy would go, "Deplane, boss, deplane." He's actually there as the henchman of Christopher Lee, and I thought they were both fine. And Christopher Lee does a really good job as the bad guy. I like the bit that James Bond gets captured and he's in this dojo and he has to sort of fight for his life. So one guy bows and James Bond just kicks him in the head. And then he has a alright fight scene with another guy and he jumps out. And there's Soontek Go, who actually has these two nieces, and the two nieces kick some bad guy ass. And James Bond sort of watches from the background. I had fun with that. I actually liked that. I had fun with that. Then he gets chased, and he's on this like little boat, and he gets chased, and sees the mistress again, and you find out that she's the one who sent the bullet to Bond because she wants Bond to kill Scaramanga. They go to a box match. The mistress is killed, and that's where you get Christopher Lee more into the film. And again, you're dealing with this device that they smuggle out. James Bond smuggles out, and then the fucking stupid ass girl they're trying to bug Scaramanga's car, Goodnight, she gets herself found. Christopher Lee just pushes her in the trunk, and she's such a bubbleheaded idiot. She's like, "I fell in the trunk." No, you didn't. You got pushed, you dumb bitch. Maybe she didn't exactly say that, but she just acts so stupid. Fucking. That's why she's the reason why they made Blonde Joes. This is fucking stupidity. Then, for some reason, like, my friend Mike, he was talking to me about this film. So he was talking about this guy he didn't like, the sheriff character, redneck sheriff. He didn't know which film he was in. Well, it was because he was in 2 films. He was in Live and Let Die, because his character was so popular, he'd come back in this film. And yeah, a lot of this film takes place in Thailand. So for some reason, the redneck character is visiting Thailand, and you see him a little bit during the little boat chase, which is a pretty lame action scene, to be honest. And then you get James Bond steals his car with the redneck guy, sheriff guy in there, and he's horrible. This redneck sheriff guy. I mean, this is years before Jackie Gleason, Smokey and the Bandit. Jackie Gleason, I liked his Smokey and the Bandit. This is like if the guy saw that, went back in time to do this movie, this and Live and Let Die, and said, okay, let me do that, and then amp it up to 11. It's really horrible. Oh yeah, the Secret Service agent. You know, you guys. I don't even want to attempt to do his dialogue. He had a very lackluster car chase. The one great action scene, stunt scene, is the scene where James Bond does this jump. Let's see if they show a picture of that. This scene here where they go off and this car wonderfully, and this is real time, does this car that does a 360 and lands on his, and one go. This car boom, and does a 360 and then lands on the other side. Fantastic stunt. This 360-degree leap. You see it in one go, no tricks. There's an actual guy doing it. Wonderful stuff. One, for some reason, when they film it, not film it, but for some reason, they thought the best way for that scene is to put a fucking flute sound while that happens. So, I'm like, what the fuck is the flute sound? And then Christopher Lee and the little henchman guy, they escape in this car plane that looks that's just, I'm like, really? I know it's James Bond silly, but it just, I think there was an actual real car plane, but I think the guy actually got killed, though, the one who had the real car plane. It just looks fucking stupid. It does. I just gotta admit, it looks stupid. I'm like, whatever. And mainly they did it with miniature. It just looks stupid. And then James Bond goes to the island. And yeah, I really like Christopher Lee. Like, James Bond gets this bottle, and Scaramanga actually shoots it, this top, so it pops off. And Christopher Lee's having a ball, and he's really good. And I like the ending where it's now James Bond in this fun house, and it's like one-on-one against Christopher Lee, and James Bond gets under, pretends to be a mannequin, and then shoots Christopher Lee. I like the little funhouse stuff and the mano-a-mano stuff, because before that, like, Christopher Lee's like, we must duel, and they take 20 paces, James Bond goes, and there's no one there. Then you get in the little funhouse bit. And they could have done a little bit more with that scene. And then the final, it's like the MacGuffin again, the stupid assistant fucks things up so the place blows up, and then the little guy, James Bond, fights him in kind of a really too goofy thing, locks him in this trunk, and the musical score was meh. I really did not like the musical score. I thought the musical score was actually pretty bad. Same with the song. The lead song, apparently there's a version that Alice Cooper did, which I think is somewhat better than the song that they had with this. I don't know who sang this, but was it Lulu or I don't know who the fuck sang this, but that's what I mean. Christopher Lee is good. I like the little guy from Fantasy Island who gone to do Fantasy Island. I think Roger Moore is fine. I like Soon Tecco. I don't know why some of his dialogue was dubbed. I liked a little bit with the kung fu stuff. And I like the 360-degree car, but really that's the only two worthwhile action bits. And an over 2-hour movie, that doesn't cut it. It doesn't. It doesn't cut it at all. The film goes on too long. The MacGuffin is boring with the solar energy stuff. You could have just stuck more with the Christopher Lee wanting to kill James Bond storyline and pat it down to 90 minutes. Get rid of the fucking redneck sheriff character. Have a better score and better song. So It's forgettable. At best, it's a time waster, but it is a step down from Live and Let Die. That's just my thoughts on it. So, either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later.